Hi everybody, welcome to 3 Questions. I am Mr. Showtime David Scott, and we are with the world famous Corey Forrester. Now, do you want to go by Corey or Corey Ryan? What are we going by?
I like to go by Corey Ryan Forrester, especially when I'm with you, because like you're the Vegas act guy, and I always feel like 3 names is like more pizzazz.
It's either 3 names or 1 name.
That's what I'm saying.
It's right. Either Corey Ryan Forrester or Corey.
You're either Cher or John Wilkes Booth. You know what I mean? There's just
so true.
People remember them.
So thank you for being a guest on 3 Questions.
Of course.
We're in Chattanooga, by the way, at my favorite barbecue place, Rib and Loin. We just had a lovely lunch.
We did. I feel horrible. Frankly, I wish that we'd done this before I ate a killer potato.
There is a very specific reason why we are doing this after the meal.
Okay.
So 3 questions. You do not know the questions. Are you ready to play 3 Questions with Mr. Showtime David Scott?
I definitely, having known you for a long time, feel as though I'm being tricked, but sure.
I promise you these are going to be very simple questions.
All right, I'm ready.
All right. I'm going to give you 3 fictional characters.
Okay.
Scooby-Doo, Kit from Knight Rider, and Alf.
Okay.
Fuck, marry, kill.
Okay.
And why?
And Kit from Knight Rider, that's the car.
That's the car.
Okay.
That's not David Hasselhoff. That's the car.
Okay. I'm fucking Alf.
Why?
Well, because Scooby-Doo is bestiality, whereas Alf is an alien. So I'm just going to pretend Alf is just a human from another planet.
It has nothing to do with butt stuff.
Right. But I would want to marry Scooby-Doo, I feel, because I could see myself. Oh, well, you scared me.
Oh, no, no. I thought I grabbed that. I'm sorry. Come on over. I apologize. Oh, no, I apologize. I thought I grabbed it.
Hilarious.
We just got accused of dining and dashing.
That's hilarious. So I want to marry Scooby-Doo because as a child, I had a couple dreams, one of which I'm currently doing, which is stand-up comedy. It was either stand-up comedy, wrestling, or solving crime in a van with a dog. And I feel like marrying... Also, if I'm married to Scooby-Doo, I mean, he's only going to be alive for like 12 years, so then I can get remarried afterwards.
But it also has you a kind of a direct line to Velma.
That's true. I can cheat. No one ever brings that up in this game.
No.
Is that you can cheat. Like, because, I mean, you're clearly going to murder someone, and why wouldn't you cheat?
Right.
You know? Right. And then I guess I got to kill... But then I lose the car.
Yeah, this is... I thought about this. This is not as easy because Kit is going to he's going to be your ride.
Yeah.
And a companion. He's going to talk to you.
Okay.
And you can solve crimes with Kit as well.
That's true. All right. I've changed it completely.
All right. So because I got accused of dining and dashing because I told Corey I was paying, we're going to do this again. Scooby-Doo, Kit from Knight Rider, Alf, fuck, marry, kill.
Okay. Fuck Scooby-Doo, kill Alf, marry Kit.
That is actually the correct answer.
It has to be. You can't kill a dog.
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 Yeah. You can kill an alien. I've seen a lot of movies about it.
Actually, you would probably be a hero.
Of course.
Because Alf wants to eat all the cats.
That's true.
And I'm a cat person.
Yeah, I love cats.
Yeah, so...
Not as much as dogs, which is why I couldn't kill one. I knew that there would somehow be a correct answer.
There's definitely a correct answer because you got there. You guys go, wait, Kit is my ride.
Yeah, right. I didn't think about it that way.
See, that's the problem with men sometimes. We think with the wrong head.
Also,
but you worked it out.
I did.
I was literally watching his eyes, like going, wait a second, Kit's my ride, and then it started clicking.
Also, like I was like, oh, I can't fuck Scooby-Doo because of bestiality, but it's like, but you'll enter into a holy union with him,
right?
Come on.
Well, listen, you can I love who you want to love.
I agree. Especially if it's Scooby-Doo.
Especially if it's Scooby-Doo. Well, that was the correct answer. Well done.
Thank you so much.
I tell you, you thought it was going to be easy, but I'm going to make you think. All right, Corey, we've known each other for, it's got to be at least on 15 years, right?
Oh, easily.
I think I met
easily.
you right when you were starting comedy.
Yeah.
Very early on.
Very early. You probably met me when I was about 5 years in, which would have been about
2005.
Yeah. So getting close to 20 years.
Yeah, so getting close to 20 years. In that time that I've known you for as many years as I have, the one thing that I did not realize until later is how big of a wrestling fan you were.
Correct.
I'm old school, early 80s WWF, not WWE
That's right.
wrestling. I had no idea that you were big. I used to have a wrestling bit, thing, but you are in the business.
That's true.
Technically, you are in the
I
wrestling
have
business.
professionally wrestled before.
Right.
Yeah.
But you are friends with wrestlers.
Oh, yeah.
You do wrestle shows with them.
Yeah.
Did you manage, or you in the ring? I know that, but don't you you go to wrestle shows with I don't know her name. I apologize. Rebel.
Yeah, of course. Yes. I do a podcast with Rebel every other Sunday.
Yeah.
Rebel's Happy Hour. Rebel from AEW. She's great. The most underutilized talent in the business.
She as far as she made Britt Baker.
Oh yeah.
Rebel's character.
Agreed.
So I
wish Tony Khan would see that.
We gotta slap Tony Khan above the head because he is missing out on a lot of great talent.
I agree, but yeah, Rebel's one of my best friends.
Oh, I loved her character.
The best.
And all I've ever heard, because I'm not in the industry, but I do know friends. She's one of the most well-liked people in wrestling, not just AEW, in wrestling.
She's the sweetest. She's one of those type of people where if I found out someone had a problem with her, that's all I'd need to know, that I didn't need to hang out with that person.
Yeah, it's the other person's problem.
Yeah. You're one of those people.
Oh, well, that's very, very kind.
Yeah.
I hope to meet her one day because I would love to get an autograph, take a picture. I think she's just awesome. But with that being said, question number 2. Who is your Mount Rushmore of comedy? Now, for all the people who are
comedy.
No, I'm sorry. Of wrestling. Who's your Mount Rushmore of wrestling? There are only 4 people on Mount Rushmore for all you homeschooled kids out there.
And also for everyone, there's only one goat. Like,
ooh.
You know what I'm saying? Like, people say they throw the word goat out all the time now,
it's
and
overused.
I'm like, there can only be one that is the goat.
There's one basketball goat. There's one football goat.
Exactly.
There's one musical goat.
Right.
So we're not going to ask for the goat because that is way too hard of a question.
And I couldn't give it
because it's generational. I know who my goat is, but it's generational. Yeah. So Mount Rushmore of wrestling. You're in the business.
Yeah.
So you could upset a few people because I
definitely could.
You're upset. So
and this is one of those things which I'm sure that you feel the same way, that like over the years, even with comedy, my Mount Rushmore has changed. Like someone has usurped someone.
Mm-hmm.
Also in wrestling, I separate the art from the artist. Of course, there have been a lot of wrestlers who have done some terrible things.
You have to.
But I always am able to still enjoy their craft, but it kind of can affect it to the point where they're off of my Rushmore anymore. So it's like
one is off my Rushmore, and I've never thought
Hulk.
Yeah. I never thought he'd be off my Rushmore
because I was like, objectively, he made wrestling what we know it
twice
is today. Right,
twice.
NWO
first in the 80s, and then with NWO.
Yeah, got over as a heel as hard as he did a babyface. Maybe better. Right. So that being said, now that we both know I've tossed Hulk off of it.
Well, unfortunately, I'm in the same boat. I've met the man. I've been to his place in Clearwater.
Have you really?
Oh yeah.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I agree with that.
Macho Man Randy Savage.
Absolutely agree with that.
Dusty Rhodes.
Ooh. But I think that's personal.
It is personal.
That's personal.
It is personal.
Because
I grew up, he was big in my household.
Right.
Like my granny loved Dusty Rhodes. My dad loved Dusty Rhodes. It was the whole thing. Just the common man, whatever. He was super over.
YouTube NWA early 80s Dusty Rhodes interview. I think he was the original talker.
Oh, yeah.
I think he was better. I love Flair, but I think he was a better talker than Flair.
I love Flair, too, and I think I have to give my last spot to Flair. Now, this could all change, like, if we were sitting here and we were wanting to do, like, an objective who were the 4 that were the most? It's like, okay, do you put Bruno Sammartino on there?
No.
I know. but if you're being objective, you would have to put Hulk on there. Like, if you're being objective.
Yeah, I mean,
but
yes and no.
Here's why it's personal. These are like the characters that inspired the Buttercream Dream, which is how I got my toe into the business.
Right.
The 3 that inspired the Buttercream Dream more than anything: Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, Macho Man Randy Savage.
Sure.
And then Stone Cold, when I was a kid, was just, it was right place, right time.
Right.
Stone Cold did the same for me in wrestling as like Jeff Foxworthy did for me in comedy, where I was like, oh my God, I didn't know one of them could sound like me. And with like Stone Cold, he was my uncle. Like, he looked just like my uncle. He talked about whooping ass just like my uncle. Mm-hmm. He was against the man just like my uncle. You know what I mean? And I think in Stone Cold, like, inarguably the biggest in the business at the time I was a kid, and I've just grown fonder of him the more I've gotten older. So that's definitely mine.
Yeah, I love. He was not on my Mount Rushmore, and neither is Stone Cold.
That's fine.
No, but I respect him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Macho Man Randy Savage. When I was a kid in the '80s, he was my wrestler.
None better.
I loved the way he spoke, and he was a good wrestler. Yeah. So Macho Man is one for me. And this surprised a lot of people. Bret Hitman Hart is on my Mount Rushmore.
Dude, honestly, like, that's why the Mount Rushmore, it always upsets me, because, like, I loved him so much, too, as a kid.
Right.
And a lot of people were like, oh, he wasn't flashy enough. I thought he was the coolest dude on earth. Those sunglasses were the coolest.
I thought he had the original great intro music.
Oh, my God. Yeah, fantastic.
That was before The Rock's... do you smell? Or Stone Cold's glass breaking. So, and then I'm actually going to go a little bit new school. Kenny Omega.
Oh yeah, Kenny's great. I like Kenny.
Yeah.
I just like, to me, wrestling is so much nostalgia that the furthest back I could go and be like, this is one of my greatest of all time, is like Kurt Angle.
Well, the reason I say Kenny Omega is because of him. Because I stopped watching wrestling after WCW folded. I was lapsed. I watched every now and then, but I wasn't involved.
Oh, I was the same way.
Kenny Omega, New Japan Wrestling, brought me back.
Hey, New Japan's good stuff.
Oh, great stuff. And then the last one, and this is going to shock people, Scott Hall.
I almost put Scott Hall on mine. And I met him too. I met him. He was the sweetest guy.
I met him one time in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, doing Sold Out. I met him, Kevin Nash, and Hulk Hogan all at the same time at the height of the NWO thing. Scott Hall maybe is, I will say this, sold better than anybody else in the business, and had the best right punch.
Oh yeah,
almost better than The Rock.
Yeah, he could sell a punch so well,
and but he would give that punch as well.
Right. He was also just genuinely. There was a lot of guys that tried to act cool,
right?
And like, I like Triple H enough, but you could always tell he was trying to act cool. Scott Hall just was cool.
Yeah,
he was just a cool guy.
But Scott Hall, behind the scenes, came up with so many great ideas. Because of him, Sting existed beyond the Surfer Dude. He came up with Pro Sting.
Sure,
he basically came up with X-Pac, all these things.
No, he had. Sorry, I was grabbing a fly. He had a brilliant mind for the business, and much like another person who I very nearly almost put on this list, which was Jake the Snake Roberts.
I love Jake.
Because that's why the Mount Rushmores are so hard. Because we could sit here and I could go, I could make the case for so many people. And also, like, dude, I loved, like, when I was a kid, I loved The Rock, but I loved The Rock. Like, it wasn't that I loved The Rock. I loved The Rock and Stone Cold's rivalry. And their rivalry, like WrestleMania 17, 19, and 20 or whatever, like that trilogy. Oh my God!
Yeah,
like,
I was
amazing.
I was never a huge fan of The Rock as a wrestler.
Yeah.
As a talker.
Oh God.
As a promo guy.
Oh, yeah, there's no one better.
To me, I think it was WrestleMania 17. It was 17 or 18 when it was him and Hogan, which.
18 was him and Hogan, I think.
Yeah, which to me is probably.
It was a great match.
Which, the way, and again, hard not to put Hulk on the list, but. The way they called an audible in the middle of the match.
Yeah, because they were like, they're cheering for Hulk.
Yeah, so Hulk had to go from heel to face. And
right.
So, but yeah, as far as a wrestler, but as a promo, no problem. So,
yeah.
So that's what makes them out. That's why I can't say I don't think there's a GOAT in wrestling because it changes.
Yeah, there's not. I mean, because, dude, Shawn Michaels would have been on mine like, but that was when I was a kid. But it's like I got to put Dusty Rhodes on there, even though I think that like as far like that's the whole thing is like Shawn Michaels says Ric Flair's the best of all time, and Ric Flair says Shawn Michaels is the best of all time.
Right.
And I get from both. Like that, with Shawn Michaels, there was no more electrifying type dude, but it's not just all about that to me. And like Dusty Rhodes, there's just something that like when I see him, that's wrestling. Or that ain't wrestling, that's wrestling.
Wrestling. The thing about Dusty Rhodes is that you can give him any gimmick, he's going to make it go over.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas Shawn Michaels wasn't always over.
No.
Dusty Rhodes was over no matter what. He was wearing
polka dots.
A polka dots or a biker hat or the son of a plumber, whatever it was. He was always over. And whereas I think Shawn Michaels wasn't always over.
Right.
Some of his gimmicks just fell flat.
Yeah.
And but Dusty Rhodes, I mean, he's right up there. But my daughter loves Dusty Rhodes the way he speaks.
Oh yes, that's great, baby. Yeah. I tell you what, next Saturday at the Bridgestone Arena, Daddy. You don't know hard times, baby. I love it.
Okay. Third question and final question. But before I ask this, I always give my guests a chance to ask me a question. So this is your chance to ask me. You just have to think about it.
Okay.
Anything you want to ask me before we go on to your third and final question.
Okay. 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 Oh, I know what I want to ask you. This is what I always feel like I should ask comedians, but never do because we get so up our own butts. If comedy was not on the table, being an entertainer was not on the table, what do you think? Either A, you would have done with your life, or what do you think you could do with your life that would bring you as much joy?
Oh, that's actually very simple. That's actually a very simple answer. History teacher.
Me too.
Yeah, I was.
That's my answer too.
I was loved his my high school freshman year. Mr. Boyle, my history teacher, took me aside because I was the class clown. Shocking.
Yeah.
And took me outside, literally, and I say this with love, threw me against the wall and said, you can be a jackass or you can be somebody.
Right.
And walked away.
And you chose to be a jackass.
And I chose to be a jackass. He was going to be somebody.
Right.
But it was him that gave me a love of history.
Yeah.
I was 14 years old, freshman in high school, and now I want to have this guy teach me everything.
Right.
So I took every course he offered, geography, whatever. As long as he taught it, I took it. We stayed friends up until he died.
That's great.
So yeah, I would have been a history teacher without a question. I don't know if I've been a high school history teacher, probably high school, maybe college. I think you can do more in high school. I think you can learn, you can touch people. That's bad. Yeah. But you can be more effective in molding kids.
Right.
Because if you don't learn history, you are bound to repeat it. And accurate. I'm a huge to this day, I'm still a history buff. I've been a history teacher, no question. That's actually a very, very easy answer.
Same for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, same for me.
Yeah, because you're big into Southern history.
Southern history, medieval history for some reason. I don't know. I just, it's nice learning about horrible things that are so far removed from you. Like if some of the things I read about in the medieval history stuff, if they happened yesterday, I wouldn't like reading about them because I'd be like, this is horrible. But when they're happened 1,000 years ago, it's like, plague.
I actually like learning about the history that has been buried. Because the winners write the story.
Right.
And it's like, oh boy, we did some horrible things. We did
we sure did.
That was some horrible things. So yeah. Okay. Third and final question. Yeah, you want to take a drink. Third and final question. COREY Ryan Forrester, star. New York Times bestseller list.
Sure.
Right?
I don't know. I think it was just the Amazon bestseller. Hey.
Bestseller.
When the fact becomes legend, print the legend.
Right?
Whatever.
All right. You and I, at one time there was like a barbecue show that you were doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you cook.
Oh yeah.
I think it's fair to say either with this getup, this Southern accent, this is a foodie.
Oh yeah.
All right.
A true Renaissance man.
True Renaissance man. Do you think you can eat this package of Reese's Peanut Butter Cups faster than I can eat my package of Reese's Peanut Butter Cups?
No, and here's why. I genuinely have felt like I was going to vomit this entire show.
Yeah, I know.
And
We're going to find out right here, right now. Oh, my God. Whoever can eat this package of Reese's Peanut Butter First, if I win, here's the thing. If I win, Corey has got to go on Instagram and tell all of his followers on Instagram to follow me on Instagram. If you win, I will go out in the parking lot of Ribbon Loin and at the top of my lungs yell out that there's nobody sexier in a Speedo than Corey Forrester.
Okay. However, can I genuinely just concede, because I wasn't being metaphorical? I really feel like I'm about to throw up. Like I'm getting the warm spit or whatever. Like, I think I'm sick. Okay, I genuinely think.
Okay,
I'm sick.
So are you conceding?
I'm conceding.
So you are going to go on Instagram.
Yes. Sometime
in the next 24 when you
as soon as better. This, yes, when I feel better.
And then, by the way, this is not an indictment on Ribbon Loin.
No, it's not, because I told you, I was like, yesterday, I said, my whole family's sick. I said, but I'm good. Can't wait to go to lunch. I don't think that's true anymore. I don't think that's true anymore. I do not feel well.
All right, well, our next guest, we will save these for the next guest. I don't know who it's going to be, but...
You know I'm sick if I'm turning down Reese's Cups.
I was shocked. And
I didn't even eat all of my baked potato.
No, you didn't.
No, I'm going to throw up on the way home. I know I am.
Corey, I love you, man.
Love you, brother.
Been a good friend for so many years. Continued success.
Likewise, my friend.
Super successable. Check out Corey Forrester. Give your socials, all that good stuff.
At Corey R. Forrester on everything. But if you're on Blue Sky, do that, because it's a lot of fun. But Corey R. Forrester on everything. And
what's your Patreon?
Oh, WeLoveCorey.com.
Yeah. Corey, thank you so much, man. Binge and purge.
I'm going to. I'm like,
bye, everybody.
I want to turn this mic off because I'm afraid I'm not kidding right now.
Okay.
I was